Hey everybody, had a couple students have questions about Postman, what it does, so I'm just going to cover it again real quick with an example. So you can see here I have a very basic server set up. It's just an express server with us in a single file. All it does is whenever you send a GET request to the slash, it'll send you back, hey, you sent a GET request to that route. If you send a POST request, it'll say, hey, you sent a POST request. And then I also did the slash item route with GET and PUT, just so you can see that, hey, the method matters, but also the URL matters. So let me grab Postman. Oh, this is also running on port 3000 on localhost. So in Postman, I've opened it up, and it's blank. There's nothing there. I've closed all the little tabs that you might open. So at its core, all Postman does is sends HTTP requests, just like you can do with a browser. So for example, if I pull up, where's Firefox? If I pull up Firefox and go to localhost :3000, which is where my server is, you send a GET request to the slash route. I can also go to /items and it will work. Oop, can I get /items? How did I do it? I put item, so let me make it items. So you send a GET request to the /items route. Browsers can only send GET and POST requests. And in order to send a POST request, you have to have an HTML form, which we're not covering HTML in this class at all. So we're not worried about how to make these forms. And it's really annoying if you want to test a POST route, to have to make an entire form just to test that. So that's why Postman was created. It is a tool that allows us to send requests. We can send GET requests just like a browser, but we can also send POST requests or PUT requests or delete requests or whatever other types of requests. Postman is just a tool that allows us to test things. That's its entire purpose. It's a testing tool. So if I want to send a request, I click the plus button, and you can see here that this is the stuff of the request. There is the method over here, which is this drop down. You can GET, you can POST, PUT, patch, delete, all these other things. All we're going to deal with is GET, POST, PUT, and delete. Those are the only four that we're going to deal with. But there are more in case some way down the road when you're developing or something, you may need those other ones for any reason, but pretty much nobody uses them. 99% of the time, you're using these top five. Patch is becoming more common, but we're not worried about that. So those are the types of requests. You can see here if I delete that, it'll say method. If I delete it, it'll say, okay, what method do you want? I want a POST request. I want a GET request. And the second part of the request is where do you want that request to go? What URL? So when we're testing on our local machines, we're just going to do localhost, LOCAL, host, whatever our port is. The port I've been using, the port I usually use is 3000. But you could really honestly use almost any port you want. You could use port LEET if you wanted to, 1337. You could use port 99999, whatever. You could use whatever port you wanted. 3000 is kind of the general testing port. But again, whatever you set in your server, whenever your server is listening, that is what port you're going to send it to. And whenever you send it, all you're doing is just sending a request just like the browser. And then Postman will show you what that response is. Right now, I'm just sending back some text. I could send back some HTML if I wanted to. I could send back a H1 and close my H1 that says, this is an H1. And I can send that, and I'll get back some HTML, and I can preview it, and you'll see that it loads it like a website. So you can do that if you want to. I'm not going to. We're not going to, because all we're doing is we're sending data. We're sending JSON data. We're not sending HTML. But if Express is oftentimes used as a server to serve up front-end web pages with HTML and CSS and JavaScript and things like that. If you took the CS-390 last year, that's how we used it. We didn't send JSON. We sent web pages. We sent EJS, which is formatted web pages. So that's all Postman does. It has other features and more advanced things that we can get into, but that's really all it is at its core, is sending requests. So let's say I wanted to send a POST request to localhost 3000. I just change that to POST, and you can see that now I got a POST request. I can change back to my GET request, and now I send a GET request. I can change to a PUT request, and this will not work because in my server I have not defined a PUT for the slash route. I've only defined a PUT for the slash items route. So if I send this, you get an error, cannot put. And you'll notice this is sending back HTML. If you preview it, that's what it looks like. But this is just kind of the raw data, the raw text that was sent back. But if I go to slash items, which is a route I defined right here, if I put to items, now it works. If I get to items, it works fine because I've defined get and put. So all Postman does is send requests. That's its entire purpose. Now sometimes, especially if you're sending a post request with information, you have to add a header. So you'll see here there are different things you can add in the request. You can add a body, you can add headers, you can add authorization, and we will get to this later once we start adding authorization. You can add query parameters. There's authorization, which is where we're gonna put cookies. Once we get that, there's headers. If you remember, we created the JSON header preset, JSON type, and that is whenever you're sending JSON in the body. So I can come over here, and in the body, I can add some information. Name of my item is, I don't know, Star Wars Episode 4. So that might be the item that I'm selling. I don't know. But you can send information, especially if you send a post request and send that. Uh-oh, we can't post to items because I never set that up. But I can post to the regular route, and it works fine. And if again, in Express, it gives us access to the stuff that this request sent. So inside of the post, if I wanted to, I could console.log request.body, send it, and you can see down here, we're getting nothing because I actually didn't turn it on. I have to turn on the ability for Express to do that. So app or server.use express.json. So if I send this again, now I can see the body. I can see the body of that request. And this is how the user sends data to my server. That's the purpose of this whole body thing. And I can add a price if I wanted to. Price might be $10. Send, and now I can see that it's got the name and it has the price. So inside of my server, I can access these things that I'm sending. But that's a little bit more advanced stuff. This is stuff that we are already doing in this class, but Postman allows us to send that data. That's one of the things that Postman does. We can easily send information. If we wanted to send an actual file, we could come over here to form data, change the type to file, name this, I don't know, my file or file, and just pick a file from my computer. Let's see. I think I've got some music that I can send. So let's send that. And now right now, this is empty because it's not JSON. In the post route, it's expecting, in the request.body, it's expecting JSON, there's nothing there. But we can add a package that will let us access this and work with this, and we actually will be doing that because we're going to be dealing with file uploads with pictures. So that's what Postman does. Postman is just a tool to send HTTP requests for testing purposes. That's its entire purpose. That's why it was created. That's why it's here. It is a testing framework. It's made for testing, so you can send these requests quickly and easily. Because if I didn't have this, I would not be able to test my post route or my put route easily at all. I would have to make a form. I would have to make a web page that makes a form, and so that form submits to my server, and I would have to add all of this stuff, all of the body stuff. I would have to build that inside the form, and every time I wanted to test it, I would have to load that web page up, fill out that form manually, and hit the send button. That's a pain in the butt. So Postman just allows us to quickly and easily test that. Hopefully this kind of explains what Postman is a little bit better than apparently I did earlier. Sorry if I glossed over it a little bit, but that's what Postman is, that's what it does. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help. Thanks.